Time came to take responsibility. We asked these masters to leave. Why don't they want to leave? When we take the case of Niger, for over 40 years, some countries have been exploiting uranium to produce energy for themselves. From Ottawa to Paris, the streets are lit up. That's the light. But in Niger, it's darkness.
The cameras rolled silently in the modest press room of Burkina Faso's presidential palace, their red recording lights casting an ominous glow. Ibrahim Traoré adjusted his military uniform one final time, his hands steady despite the nervous energy coursing through his veins. A young captain turned president, Traoré had called this impromptu address with just 2 hours' notice, catching international media completely off guard. "My fellow Africans," he began, his voice steady, but with an undercurrent of controlled anger. "Today I speak not just as your president, but as a son of this continent who has witnessed enough." The French translator scrambled to keep up, sweat dripping down his forehead as he realized the gravity of what was unfolding. Major news networks across Europe and America scrambled to pick up the live feed, editors sensing that something historically significant was about to unfold. Traoré's words cut through diplomatic niceties like a blade through silk. "For too long, we have been told to be grateful for crumbs, while our resources feed foreign tables thousands of miles away. We have been lectured about democracy and human rights by those who orchestrate our instability from their comfortable offices." His fist clenched slightly as he leaned forward into the microphone, his eyes piercing directly into the camera lens. "Some nations speak eloquently of partnership while their hands remain buried deep in our pockets, extracting our wealth and leaving us with debt and dependency." The press exchanged glances, recognizing that this wasn't the usual scripted diplomatic rhetoric. Social media buzzed as clips of his speech spread rapidly across Twitter, Facebook, and TikTok. Hashtags emerged in multiple languages, and newsrooms from London to New York mobilized. In Paris, President Emmanuel Macron's calm composure cracked as he watched the broadcast. His usually impeccable diplomatic stance began to break down under the weight of the accusations. His fist clenched around his Mont Blanc pen, and he snapped, "Turn it off immediately." But it was too late. Traoré continued, his voice rising, "We are not your backyard playground. We are not your convenient testing ground for geopolitical games. Africa is awakening, and we will no longer accept your patronizing lectures. We are reclaiming our dignity, and we will not be made small to feed your global gain." The broadcast reached over 50 million viewers, making it one of the most watched African political addresses in modern history. The world was listening. Across the continent, African leaders shared the clips with supportive messages. Meanwhile, diplomatic channels in Paris buzzed with urgency. Macron's face darkened as Traoré's words hit harder with every translated phrase. In the Élysée Palace, Macron stormed into an emergency meeting, his anger palpable. "He practically called us colonial masters in front of millions," he seethed, pacing frantically. "We've invested billions, provided security, and this is how we're repaid?" His senior advisors tried to maintain composure, urging caution. "We need a measured diplomatic response," one suggested. But Macron's fury only grew. "Measured? He's humiliated us. We need to remind them who holds the power." Back in Burkina Faso, Traoré's office was swamped with calls from fellow African leaders. "You've spoken for all of us," President Tshisekedi of the Democratic Republic of Congo said, his voice brimming with admiration. But despite the overwhelming solidarity, Traoré remained focused. His military training kept him grounded, recognizing the consequences of his speech. "What about the French response?" he asked quietly. His intelligence chief answered grimly, "Radio silence, but we're detecting unusual French military communication." The room grew tense as the reports continued to come in. France was preparing an economic and diplomatic response, but Traoré's calm remained unwavering. "The response will tell us everything we need to know," he said, a quiet certainty in his voice. "They've already crossed the line. Now we'll see who they really are." 3 days later, Macron sat across from his senior advisors, the weight of his choices heavy. "The world is calling him a hero," one diplomatic advisor said, "a hero of liberation and anti-colonial resistance." Macron's anger burned. "He's an ungrateful child. We've protected him, we've invested in his country, and this is how he repays us?" But despite his fury, reality was closing in. The African Union has issued a resolution supporting Burkina Faso's right to self-determination. His advisor continued, "China and Russia are backing their sovereignty. The international community is watching. Macron's pride was wounded. The narrative was shifting. This isn't just political criticism, he muttered. It's a direct